Hello everyone, this is part 19 of What If Naruto was exiled after he brought Sasuke back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Sooner. Hold. Gaara watched as the invading Oto Iwakiri and other nations charged. Kankuro was looking at his brother nervously for the command, but Gaara remained unmoving. Hold. The puppet master yelled out again. Gaara watched as the first wave came closer and closer. Fire, he said in his calm voice. Fire. Kankuro roared and the message spread, and all along the wall fire jutsus arced out and struck the approaching ninja. The loud launch of the catapults heaving burning pitch and solid stone into the enemy lines. They're at the second marker, Kankuro said. Gaara grunted and watched the enemy still advancing. Signal the archers. Kankuro nodded and sent off the message. Down the wall Nami and the archers saw it and aimed and picked their targets. Head, or chest shots. If you hit a shoulder, ignore them and try for a fresh, don't put more than one arrow into a target. Nami said. Several of the Sunanin had bows, a lot had crossbows. Aim, she ordered and sighted. Fire. A volley of arrow flew from the Suna side of the battlefield and the sky darkened as the arrow soared. Many struck, many missed. Some were right on, piercing heads and chests, others hit arms, shoulders or legs. Nami saw this and sent the order. Open up. Keep firing. She sent numerous more arrows, bringing down many invaders. She snarled, seeing the nearly endless waves. There's just too many, one archer said, running out of arrow. Nami refused to give in and grabbed several of the arrows she'd prepared earlier. Thin them out, she ordered to those that had done the same as her, and she launched the arrow, and when it struck it exploded with the force of a dozen exploding tags, taking out the struck ninja and those around them. Along the wall the archers soon ran out of arrows. Nami kept up her barrage as her quiver was replenishing like it was supposed to do. Her arrows, hitting with pinpoint accuracy, didn't slow the advancing horde down, but she kept firing. Gaara looked on and saw the archers were out save the lavender-haired woman that had come with Uzumaki. They'll be at the walls in a moment, Kankuro said. Ready the oil, and prepare the traps, Gaara said. Next to him Naruto was fidgeting. The blonde nine-tail wanted to fight. Gaara understood, but knew that the plan had to go as it was outlined. Naru-kun, relax, Hinata said from next to him. She'd been moved up with him, as Neji said she would have been too concerned about him to focus on her task in the narrowed streets. The blonde looked at her and sighed. I could be doing something. Soon enough, Kakashi said. Mika returned and stopped, seeing the wave of enemy coming. Should there be so many of them? The silver-haired teen asked. Seems like Orochimaru press-ganged every nin from his allies and even hired bandits to fill his ranks, Itachi said, standing to the side. Mika looked at the approaching horde. May I? He asked Gaara. The Kazekage looked at him and then remembered the event when Mika and Naruto first arrived. He nodded. Mika climbed up onto the edge of the wall and slammed his hands together in the shape of a ball. K.A. Naruto smiled. Mika had mastered this attack, and while he couldn't pull it off yet, he felt it was a matter of time, but his brother mastered it first and that gave him a sense of pride. He saw Kakashi looking on. The energy spun and condensed and Mika was drawing in air as well. Those around him stepped back as it became harder to breathe. Along the wall the defenders heard this and looked towards the Kazekage's position, seeing a figure on the wall facing the enemy. Nami paused in her barrage of arrows, hearing the familiar chant, and saw the ball of energy forming in her Mika's hands. My Mika. She smiled at that thought. Mika poured more chakra into the attack, remembering the ass-kicking he'd just gotten, and added his anger to it as well. I owe you a boss, you bastards. Sadly you're the ones going to feel my wrath. That's right, young dragon, add my power. Lightning soon arced into the chakra attack and Mika's reptilian eyes blazed. The attack sped from his hands, and as it went, it swelled in size. The charging army froze as its center was wiped out, totally annihilated. The sand they were on was blackened and glassy, nothing else remained of the center group. On the wall Micah went to a knee, his vision was a bit fuzzy. What the hell? That took more out of me than it should have. That's because you filled it with your emotions and my power. You'll be fine in a moment, your reserves are rushing up to full again, but I wouldn't use that more than 4 times a day, kiddo. Yeah, I think if I have to, twice a day is a safety limit. Micah agreed with the sword. Naruto and Gaara pulled him back behind the wall, as Danzo, pissed over the loss of a couple hundred troops from such a devastating attack, ordered a barrage of fire. Rock and lightning jutsus came from the invaders who were in range and returning fire now. Micah sighed as he accepted the water from Naruto, who looked at him in concern. I'm fine, he said to the unasked question. Just in case, never let your emotions get the best of you when powering that thing, if you ever get it. Naruto nodded. Q hovered over his apprentices. You both surprise me more and more. One of these days, I will find out all you learned from your other tutors. Micah and Naruto gave the shade big grins. Should we tell him I taught you the shadow clone jutsu? Naruto stage whispered. Nah, should we tell him that we found new uses for it? Micah asked back. Hinata was looking at the pair and shook her head. What am I to do with you, Naru-kun? Take me home. The blonde fired back without thought. Kakashi's snort of laughter caught him and he turned to see Hinata standing there with a look in her eyes he'd seen on some of the vixens back in the Undervis. Please your woman and her fantasies later, Kit. Q said as they peered over the wall to see the Iwa and Kirinin at the wall and they were scaling it. Gaara snarled and focused his will and a wall of sand washed them off the wall. He was targeted by a hail of stone missiles and his sand shield protected him. They're on the walls. Pull back to point 2. He said. Kankuro sent the word and they began to pull back as the first of the invaders reached the top of the wall. A group of Sunanin went to hold them back while the Kazekage and his group were moved further back. No, Gaara said, and another wave of sand swiped the invaders from the wall. They need to believe we are fighting for our lives. Gaara's right, Naruto said, and he leapt into the air, drilled a Iwa Nin off the wall with a jump kick. Hinata was at his side and her Juken palm thrust sent another enemy Nin flying, this one with a palm-sized hole in his chest. Micah smiled as he drew Stormbringer. Let's rock this joint. He leapt and landed in the middle of a group of ninja. The Hanzo sword a blur of motion and in seconds 9's ninja lay at his feet. He turned to block a Kirinin trying to attack him from behind, but an arrow through the T dropped the enemy and Micah looked to see Nami standing on a rooftop picking her targets and smiting them down like an avenging angel. Micah smiled and nodded his thanks. Kankuro was cursing his luck as his brother was determined to make the stand authentic and that meant he couldn't leave either. Yeah, like Temari would let me keep my balls if I leave Gaara behind. The puppet master thought as he was getting pissed and pulled several of the chakra strings and his 3 puppets exploded from the concealed places and said enemy Nin with their poison-tipped weapons. But, I have to admit this is fun. Across the wall defenders were fighting and winning and to make the trap believable and the enemy forces were falling for it. For every Suna ninja that fell, they took at least 10 invaders with them. One Sunanin, poisoned, bleeding from several lethal wounds, showed he was wrapped in exploding tags and dove off the wall. The explosion took at least 30 invaders when his body hit the ground below. Danzo stood in his armor, at the back of the army. Move in the 3rd wave. He ordered, his hate-filled eyes spotting the blonde hair of the damned Jinchuriki from here, and his eyes widened seeing the tails. It is the demon. Foolish Sarutobi. He would have made the perfect weapon, now however I will K him like that whore of a mother. Danzo sneered thinking of the Hokage and the demon's mother. You tried to hide who his parents were, and you succeeded in fooling the rest of the council, but my spies were very good in their jobs. Get the Iwa in there, have them use their earth attacks to open a breach. He ordered. 9. Beat that Neji-kun. Lee said as his blow sent a Kirinin into a wall. The impact could be heard shattering every bone in the invader's body, and a human-shaped crater in the wall. 17. Neji said with a smirk as his Juken attacks took out another Nin, out the enemy's T. What? No. My fires of youth will not be diminished so. I will top that Neji Kunor. You'll wear that outfit Ten-chan picked out to bed. Neji finished with a grin. Lee paused, shocked. He then smiled and a backhand blow shattered a skull of Oroto Nin. And if I win Neji-kun? A hail of shuriken cut down the ninja around the pair. 27. Tenten crowed. She then looked at the pair. Now, can anyone join this wager, loves? Or is this just a personal bet for your playtime? Neji blushed. Of course, Tenheim, you are more than welcome to join us as always in anything and everything we do. Lee smiled. Besides, Neji-kun likes that thing you do with your mouth, and, he saw them looking at him and he blushed. No. Not that thing, the other thing, he looked at Neji. You're supposed to stop me when I'm saying something like that, Neji-kun. Neji smirked as he did a handstand, helicopter kick taking out 2 more ninja. But you get so cute when you do that, Lee-kun. Tenten laughed at her lovers and popped the Pantera claws as another group of enemy ninja tried to overrun their position. Come on, boys. It's clobberin' time. Both males watched as Tenten dove in, claws slashing. Neji looked at Lee, and with a shrug they followed, gentle fist and iron hand styles decimating all in their path. Itachi was bored. The ninja that encountered him far too easily, or some recognizing him turned and fled. He saw Kakashi was a blur of motion, the twin kunai in his hands taking lives where they struck. Itachi knew that they were forbidden from using main attacks. He had been impressed with the attack from Naruto's friend. Such power, and it can't be copied with the Sharingan. Simply amazing. If your friend is this strong, Naruto, how powerful have you become in 3 years? Itachi deflected a barrage of kunai and went to aid in the defense of the Kazekage. Doro ducked as another wave of invaders fired upon him. His whole squad was wiped out. He saw more of the invaders coming down his street and knew that he had to prevent that. Putting his hands into position, he activated the S-jutsu and rushed out into the full street. For Suna and Lord Gaara. The explosion brought down the surrounding buildings and killed the ninja there. Cage Bunshin no Jutsu. Suddenly the wall was being protected by 100 blonde 9-tailed Naruto clones. Pull back, he yelled, grabbing Gaara by the shoulder as they were being slowly worn down by sheer numbers. No, Gaara, stick to the plan. We need to pull back. They have nearly a third of their forces assaulting the walls now. We need to pull back. Gaara growled as he created several sand clones to attack the invading forces and allowed himself to be pulled along. I know, I hate retreating as well. Naruto admitted as he buried a kunai to the handle in the skull of a Kumo nin that lunged at him and Gaara. Mika was at their side as they retreated, the Hanzo swordslay as he along with Kakashi and Itachi made a wall of death between the invaders and Suna's Kazekage as they withdrew deeper into Suna. Lord Danzo, the wall is ours. While we are encountering heavy resistance, we can take the city, a Kirinin reported. Danzo nodded. Move the rest of the forces into support. Any reports on our ninja encountering the demon? Reports are sketchy as the fighting is heaviest, but he is with the Kazekage and it seems charged with his protection alone with Kakashi, Hatake and a couple other ninja, we assume are either Suna nin or mercenaries. Danzo nodded. Report when you get them. The nin vanished and Danzo looked on as his forces poured into Sunagakure. Lord Orochimaru will be pleased when I give him the Kyuubi to experiment on. And when his guard is down, it will be my turn. I will K him and Konoha will be mine and they will hail me as their savior, and the legacy of the Yondaime will be nothing more than a footnote in history. Danzo looked to his left. Where the hell is Sai? Wave. Orochimaru waited as the medics cleared him and he glared at Shang. You knew who or what that brat is. The sorcerer bowed his head. He's a Hanyu. Nothing of concern. Nothing of concern. He's forced us to go back around, and our travel time is reduced as we have ninja checking every inch of the way back and the second bridge for more traps. Shang shrugged his cloaked shoulders. Arrogance was your undoing here in Wave, Lord Orochimaru. The Hanyu is nothing. The snake Sanin snorted. Nothing, sorcerer. He's taken a chunk of my army out by himself. He's delayed our advance on Konoha to a crawl. He survived an attack by myself, Sasuke, Sakura and yourself. That indicates something, and I want to know what. Shang was wondering what to reveal. He shrugged. Perhaps he has some SK, but his attack was mostly surprise. As to his surviving, I believe it is due to the blade he carries. I need time to study, but I think it is one of the legendary 9. Orochimaru looked at him. Explain. Shang shrugged. 9 blades forged for the demon kings, in their ivory thrones. Seeing Orochimaru's look, the sorcerer sighed behind the mask of mist and shadow. In the lands I am from, there are special blades that were forged by the fallen angel Hitori Hanzo. 3 blades for the Riven Kings in the kingdoms of the sky. 7 for the nomads that traverse the world, forever alone. 9 for the demon lords on their ivory thrones. And the 1 blade that can rule all of the Undervis, the one that can kill an immortal, mortal edge, the Black Blade. Shang thought, but left unsaid, Orochimaru did not need to know about it, nor the Undervis. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. And these blades are thought to have been accounted for. The Riven never leave the Sky Kingdoms, they live above the world and never interact. The nomads are rumored to have broken the blades long ago. And the demon lords, Shang shrugged. The two would have continued the discussion, but Sakura approached. Shang drifted deeper into the shadows. Report. Orochimaru ordered the Kunoichi. We can still take Konoha Lord Orochimaru. Sasuke has ordered that Kumo, Kiri and Mizu empty and every citizen be armed. He's sent runners. He believes we can use the civilians as fodder. Orochimaru nodded. And word from our allies. Sakura held up the messenger scroll. Konoha stopped the civil war and executed everyone. The Haruno clan made an escape attempt, but it seems they failed. Akatsuki member Hidden was killed by an unknown nin, Kakazu escaped. Orochimaru sneered at the thought of the once powerful criminal organization falling so low. They can't even perform a simple retrieval mission without the aid of the leader's guidance. He looked up and saw her reluctance. There's more. Messenger from Lord Danzo. They are attempting to take Suna. Orochimaru paused. If we make our fastest time, we could cross Suna and add Danzo's force back to our own. He thought. Prepare the army to march. Tell Sasuke his forces can catch up. Have Scout keep scanning for traps or ambushes. He stood and sneered. And when we meet our silver-haired friend, I think I will enjoy his company. Suna. Oh, you son of a, Micah said as he buried his fist into a Kiri-nin's chest. How did you do that? Kakashi asked. Wind knuckle. Micah asked as they continued to lure the invaders deeper into Suna, blowing streets up to route them certain directions. The invaders found the rooftops to be heavily trapped and avoided them now. Wind knuckle. Kakashi asked. Well, I am a wind user. I make attacks based off others I've seen, but with my wind. I saw this one traveler, he encased his hand in fire and called it burning knuckle. Same principle, but different element. Kakashi nodded. Naruto has made hundreds of attacks over the years. A lot of the stuff we've made is results of pranks or watching others and their attacks. They did a double spin away, and their backhands holding kunai slammed into the unfortunate Oto Nin's head on either side. So, you were originally from Konoha? Kakashi asked, his memory spotty from the mental blocks from his Anbu days. Hi, Micah said. The third sent me away when my original bloodline activated. I needed to learn how to control it. You have a Kekkei Genkai? Kakashi asked as he grabbed a Mizunin and snapped his N with a quick twist. Had ISD it in order to give Master Q a chance at freedom. Not sure why he didn't get a body, but the ritual we used was old. Micah said with a shrug, and his hand blurred and rock spikes shot up from the ground and impaled the surrounding enemy nin. Kakashi was thinking, but asked his question while he thought about what he'd learned. What was your Kekkei Genkai? Hemokitan. I could manipulate blood in a person's body once they were cut. Micah said. You were the one who killed the root Anbu 3 years ago. Kakashi said, his eyes widening. Yeah, and you gave it up, to free the Kyuubi. Don't take that tone, Kakashi. There is a lot of our tale you don't know, and while Naruto I'm sure told you all a quick highlight version, there are things you don't know. Master Q was as much a victim as Naruto. Kakashi looked over where Naruto and Hinata were causing destruction to all that approached them. He was amazed at the level of teamwork they showed. They worked together, covering as if they'd been teamed for years. He saw the Kyuubi's shade moving around, distracting enemy ninja. Victim. Look what his influence has done to Naruto. He's a Hanyu now. The citizens of Konoha might have accepted him back, but now. Kakashi had kept quiet about the 9 tails Naruto now sported. Hinata had not been surprised by it, which had him wondering about that. It's as if she knew in advance what he looked like. The former Jonin turned Genin continued to fight, his eyes going to his former student. A wave of nostalgia passed over him. No matter what, I will support Naruto now. I messed up before, and some of it was the mental jutsus placed on me. Inoki warned me that some of them might still linger due to how long they'd been there before he removed them. The battle was going on and Kakashi forced himself to focus on the task at hand. There will be time for contemplation later. 84. Lee crowed proudly as another nin fell beneath his iron fist style. Neji's chitin took out 3 more and he smirked at Lee. 85. I will win, Neji-kun. Lee said. You can try, Lee-kun. Neji said. Get the lead out. Tenten said as she held open another nin with her claws. Her new style suited her. The Pantera claws were weapons and they caused her to learn hand-to-hand combat. Tenten smiled at the memories of trying to have Lee and Neji teach her, but those soon turned out into make-out sessions that would have had Jiraiya rocketing off into the Hokage Monument from nosebleed propulsion. She'd instead worked with Hana Inuzuka and Guy Sensei. It had taken her quite some time to get over her aversion to hand, but the wild style of the Inuzuka's Riva style, made-up style, and with Guy Sensei's vast knowledge of taijutsu, Tenten made her own way and now she could be considered a well-rounded fighter now. And boys, you're behind. She taunted. They looked at her. 106. She said and sauntered away towards the next ambush site. Lee looked at Neji. What do you think she'll do to us? The taijutsu user asked the Hyuga prodigy. The questions, Lee-kun, should be how much we'll enjoy it. Neji said with a smirk, and the pair shared a perverted grin and rushed after the third member of their trio. Great attack, Hina Haim. Naruto yelled as he bashed a pair of heads together. He watched as Hinata bent backwards and sent a Kiri nin into the air with a flip kick. A Naruto clone leapt up and sent the nin back down with a double sledgehammer-like blow. The poor nin landed with a sickening sound and didn't move. You as well, Naru-kun, she said as she bobbed and weaved, hitting several Juken attacks and the enemy nin falling back unable to use their arms, but retreat wasn't an option as several Naruto clones would swarm them and they would be seconds later. Naruto tails were acting as extra hands and they slammed into Ninja with the force of a sledgehammer as well. The body count around the pair was growing, but they were losing ground according to the plan. They would stop and allow the enemy ninja to rally and try and get to Gaara, only to be stopped by Mika, Kakashi, Naruto, Itachi, Nami or Hinata. Gaara, well actually a sand clone as the real one was, with Kankuro preparing the final part of the trap, would attack a few sand kunai king dozens of invaders. They were slowly losing ground. Kami, these bastards suck. Why can't we just K them all here and be done with it? Naruto thought as his middle thrust kick sent another nin flying, and those around heard the snap of ribs. Hinata was just as devastating, and the invaders learned that trying to attack the blonde nine-tailed teen next to her guaranteed immediate death. Danzo looked at his group. The defenses are broken, time for the K. He motioned his forces forward. I will hand the Kyuubi brat to Lord Orochimaru, and after he's discovered the secrets to its power, I will K him. Nami sent several more arrows into the invaders. Naruto and the others turned a corner and switched places with clones. Nami kept the enemy ninja occupied, and once in a while she would charge an arrow and take out several in a blast. She listened to her earpiece that the Kazekage had provided. Retreat. The simple order was given and Nami let loose another arrow before dropping down and joining the others in their escape. The enemy ninja fighting clones and puppets never noticed. Danzo walked through the streets of Sunagakure, his sneer indicating what he thought of the desert nation's crown jewel. Lord Danzo, we have them on the run. The Kazekage is being rushed to the tower. It looks like they wish to make a last stand there. A nin reported. Fools. They make it easier to K them. Danzo motioned for his command group to head for the tower. They passed the numerous SB of the defenders, not sparing them a single glance. If they had, they would have noticed the facial features falling away. Below the city. I can't believe you have a network of tunnels down here, Mika said as they moved along. The first Kazekage had them dug. Our father thought they were useless. Kankuro said. We used them all the time when we were younger too. He paused and looked down. To hide from me, Gaara said. I understand, and I am glad you and Temari found ways to stay safe. So, the puppets are now set to blow. How is that going to happen? Naruto asked from where he was next to Hinata. And where do these tunnels go? The puppets are timed to blow soon, once a certain amount of chakra passes the tripwires. Gaara said. And these tunnels will get us to the border. Kankuro said. Temari used to use it in the hottest months to avoid the worst of the heat in her travels. Hinata and Naruto with the others hurried along. Despite being a mile away now, they didn't want to chance the tunnels near ground zero. Danzo stared at the tower. Fools. He sneered. Bring it down on their heads. He ordered to the group of Iwa nins. They were gathering chakra when the first explosion happened. Danzo looked over his shoulder and saw several areas exploding and they were getting closer. No, he said. He turned as the ground around him erupted to reveal puppets of all shapes and sizes. He watched as they latched onto several of his men and one looked right at him, gave him the finger and said, boom. Danzo grabbed the gem around his N, given to him by Lord Orochimaru before they'd left Suna. Take me to Lord Orochimaru. He commanded and he left in a flash of light as his army, trapped in Suna, was wiped out as the puppets rose up all over the city and detonated. Suna burned, and the enemy army was killed, at the cost of the village hidden in the sand. Orochimaru looked on as Suna exploded. They were miles away and the smoke and fire brought a smile to his face. Danzo is doing well. He was about to say more when there was a flash of light to his side and Danzo landed in a heap at his feet. The former councilman of Konoha looked up. The army is gone, he said. Orochimaru's smile vanished and the yell of rage could be heard at the borders where the heroes were exiting and beginning the next phase of their plan. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.